What you're seeing here, folks, is the special demo for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so that you can see. It's got the logo for both games because this demo works with both games when they're released in about a week and a half from now. But enough about Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Um, for those of you that haven't been following my blogs, I pre-ordered the games over the summer and have them paid in full. So when they're both released on November 21st, yours truly will be picking up both copies as well as some GameStop exclusives that go with pre-ordering both games. I also got the mythical Pokemon Diancie, and yes, I got 2 copies. As for how I pulled that off, I went to 2 GameStops. So I have Diancie in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. Pretty much all I have to do is wait for the games to come out, and I'm pretty much good to go. A couple of other games that I've recently got, which are also some blockbuster hits. You've got Super Smash Bros. 3DS. I wrote a review for this on my blog, on my WordPress blog, so if you haven't checked it out, you might want to see what I said about this game. I unlocked all the characters in about a week and a half. And let's just say Nintendo knows how to give folks what they want, what they're asking for. Maybe not in the way that you would want them to, but I am convinced with some of the things coming out down the pipe that they know what they're doing. Speaking of which, Super Smash Bros. 3DS and Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby are probably going to be contenders, the main contenders for Game of the Year. But 2 games that I would highly recommend that should have that spot, which I'm talking about in the review that I'm running for the game I'm about to show you. One of them is Bravely Default, and the other one is this game, Fantasy Life, which was released, I think about a week and a half ago-ish. Anyway, this game, if you're a fan of traditional role-playing games, this game will keep you busy for a long time to come. A lot of folks, I have to admit, I did, after spending almost the first half of the entire first half of this year playing role-playing games in the 3D on the Vita, and then playing, and then getting a couple of ports and a couple of other interesting indie games for the Vita over the summer. I was starting to wonder what Nintendo's answer would going to be, and they've stepped up in a big way. Not only do you get this, not only is there this game, Bravely Default, Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire coming out, but there's also another game coming out 4 days after Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire called Persona Q, which is kind of like a mashup between Persona 3, Persona 4, Golden, and Etrian Odyssey. It uses a lot of the map building features from Etrian Odyssey, but it has the characters from Persona 3 and Persona 4. And the cool thing about anyone that's bought anything Etrian Odyssey or Persona knows that, well, I shouldn't say Persona, but anything Etrian Odyssey, well, pretty much most of Atlus's games come with the soundtrack with a partial track listing, so you can enjoy some of the music whenever you want. So that's the reason, if you've been wondering why that game and Shin Megami Tensei 4 cost $50 when they launched, it's because you come with this a pretty nice package. Look, I think I've got the one from SMT4. But anyway, it comes with a pretty nice book, and cool, found it. Nope, that's not it. Anyway, whatever. It comes with a pretty nice book with information from the game. Oh, now I find it. That's funny. So anyway, you buy a physical copy of SMT4 and you get this pretty thick book, which is a walkthrough up to a certain point of the game, as well as some art, some cool color art. And it sounds like Persona Q has the same kind of thing going on. Plus, you get a soundtrack CD on top of that, as usual. I haven't just been playing 3DS games, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. I've also got a couple of PSP games. Not PSP, a couple of Vita games. Over the last couple of months. Most of them were released earlier this year, but I did get one game that was just released fairly recently. Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1, and according to GameFAQs, Part number 2 is coming out in the spring of 2015, and I'll move this a bit closer so you can see it. It's a role playing game that is the main. If you've ever played this game, this is the game that it's based on. So, fan service, actual game. I hope that I'm not going to explain any further than that. So, if you haven't played this game yet, I recommend playing this game before you play this game, so that you don't make unlike me, you're not confused when you play the musical version, the musical game in this one. A couple of other games that were released a while back: Final Fantasy X HD. And now that I have this game, I have Final Fantasies 1 through 10 in some shape or fashion. I have Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Final Fantasy 1 and 2 for the Game Boy Advance. I actually bought those from Amazon again. I have Final Fantasy 3 for the PSP and the DS. I have Final Fantasy 4, the Complete Edition for the PSP. Remember, I have a PSP Go, so I can do that. Final Fantasy 5, I downloaded from the PlayStation Network again. Final Fantasy 6, also from the PlayStation Network. Final Fantasy 7 on my PS3. Final Fantasy 8, also on my PS3. Final Fantasy 9, I just bought that last night. It's on my PS3 right now. And now we have Final Fantasy 10, plus X2. Well, anyway, for those that like Roman numerals, that's a lot of Final Fantasies. I haven't played Final Fantasy 11. And I probably won't ever get around to that in this lifetime. And I have no plans of playing Final Fantasy 14 because it's it's an MMO, and in my opinion, those don't count. I played Final Fantasy 13, the base game. I haven't played the other two, but I'm going to wait until a collector's edition containing all 3 games comes out at some point before I dive into that one. I haven't played Final Fantasy 12, though I did play the sequel released on the DS, Freedom Wings. No, wait. Revenant Wings. But anyway, I also have Feet Rhythm Final Fantasy for the 3DS, but not the sequel, Curtain Call. Though I expect to get that game probably next month. But anyway, yeah, that's a lot of games. Oh, I also have Weiss, Memories of Celceta, and you can see from the sticker where I got it from, but this game, even though I believe it was one of the launch titles for the Vita, this game is amazing. So if you consider yourself any kind of an RPG fan, whether it's JRPGs or WRPGs, it's worth checking out. And yeah, I bought it new, but you can get it used for like $15 to $20 at a lot of places. Whew. That's a lot of video games, but anyway, yeah. As those of you that have been reading my blogs know by now, Warlords of Draenor is coming out in 2 days. Unlike a lot of idiots that I've been reading about on MMO Champion and GameFAQs, I am not going to be going to a midnight release, number 1. Number 2, I'm not logging in on the first 2 days. I learned my lesson during Wrath of the Lich King's launch. And number 3, unlike most of those folks that I'm talking about it, I'm going to take my time like I always do. That's how you avoid burnout, though for me, Mr. Pandari was an odd exception. Seeing as I'm only going to be leveling 1 character to 100 this time, it should make my planned exit from that game much easier. But anyway, for the rest of my thoughts on that, just look for the blog after Warlords of Draenor goes live. I did get a couple of, as usual, I did get a couple of movies that I saw in theaters earlier this year. I got Godzilla and Maleficent over the weekend. This movie I saw once, then bought the soundtrack, and I just bought it on Blu-ray DVD combo and threw it and so on. And then I got Godzilla, which I saw in theaters twice, and then I had to get the Blu-ray DVD combo and the soundtrack. Well, I bought the soundtrack for both movies from iTunes, but anyway. I actually have Godzilla in the playing right now on my PlayStation 3, because for those that don't know, the PlayStation 3 is you can play Blu-ray DVDs. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty amazing movie, and if I saw it twice in theaters and then went ahead and decided to go buy it, interesting. It's put up, but anyway, um, that's a visual stimulation, if I don't say so myself. But anyway, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna go back to doing the whole reviewing of games things on my game blog, and seeing as I'm gonna be registering for Anime Boston next week, I'm gonna be talking more about that, as well as when I'm going to have my panels ready. And this time my goal is to have the presentations for all of my panels done by the end of this year, because I don't want to put myself in a situation this year, of having to cancel some of my panels, which was kind of sad because a lot of folks were really excited about them, just the idea of them. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to do a separate blog post on what I consider the main event for Anime Boston 2015. So look for that sometime around this time next month. I do want to end with whoops. Anyway, I do want to end with yeah, that was a Godzilla Symphonic Breath. Anyway, I do want to end with just reminding folks today is Veterans Day, so if you don't know a vet and you happen to see one while you're out doing your business, tell them thank you for their service. Because it's not easy to do the things that those guys do, and they do sacrifice a lot, and they deserve, regardless of the politics and all that, they deserve nothing but the utmost respect for what they do every day, and yeah, just wanted to make sure that I made sure to just remind folks that today is Veterans Day, and it is a day that. In recent years, I like to say the American public has started to reclaim for what it should be. And for the vets out there that are checking this out, more power to you. Hoorah! And keep up the good work, and you guys have a great day.